Hi, Renée.
Hi.
Welcoming Renée Yoxon to the Kajabi Hot Seat. We're so happy to have them here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So Renée, describe how you're feeling today in 3 words.
I'm a little nervous and apprehensive, but also excited.
That's perfectly fine. We are so happy to be doing this with you.
Me
and
too.
appreciate you being here and flying over all the way from Montreal. If you had to pick one, what would be your proudest moment?
My proudest moment would probably be when I released my second album, which was the first album of all original songs that I made. It was a really exciting moment for me.
Wow, that's a huge moment. Would you read a book or binge your favorite TV show?
A book. I'm definitely a book reader, but only because I love TV too much, so I have to read books.
What's your social media strategy?
My social media strategy is just to put out high quality content whenever I can.
That's awesome. How has your relationship with social media evolved?
It's evolved a lot. I'm 34 years old right now, and so I'm from the era when social media was all about taking Instagram pictures of your meals and sharing them with your friends, and now it's just for business. I don't really share my personal life at all on social media.
When did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I knew at a very young age. My father was an entrepreneur. He ran an online magazine called CanadianDriver.com, and during my physics degree, which was the first thing I studied, I knew I didn't want to be a scientist, and so I left and I told my dad, I want to be a jazz musician. And he was like, okay, here's everything you need to know about Canadian tax law, and here's a printer. He bought me a printer, and I still use that printer to this day.
Wow, so cool. Such a great moment between the two of you.
Yeah, I definitely come by my entrepreneurialism, honestly.
Who are the people who inspire you the most in life?
The people who inspire me the most in life. I was reflecting on this idea the other day, and I think writers are probably the people who inspire me the most in life. I think when a person can be so articulate about their authentic life, like especially creative nonfiction writers, and I'm thinking specifically of this Canadian writer named Vivek Shraya, who has put out so many beautiful books across genres and has just lived her life so truthfully. I think that's just so beautiful, and that really inspires me.
What have been your biggest struggles with social media and growing your business?
The biggest struggles are that many social media platforms actively suppress LGBTQ content and disabled content, and I'm both of those things. YouTube suppresses, or doesn't run ads, I should say, on queer content, and TikTok has a reputation for suppressing the content of disabled creators, which sucks.
If you could collaborate with someone living or dead, who would that be?
I can't think of anyone besides musicians, and so definitely would have to be Carmen McRae, who is a jazz singer. And the reason I chose her is that she put out a duo record with Betty Carter, and it's like my favorite album. It's so fun and free and beautiful, and I think if I was ever going to collaborate musically with somebody, it would be her if I had the choice.
What is the best song written of all time?
This question kept me up last night. I seriously was like, how do I even begin to answer? Because I haven't heard all the songs. How can I choose? And also it really depends on what genre you're talking about. I have a lot of strong opinions. I have a master's in songwriting. I don't know if you know that.
I do.
But I have a lot of strong opinions about songs. For me, I really appreciate songs that have a big impact with a small economy of words. So like one of my favorite writers is Randy Newman, and I really love the song Living Without You. It's got so few lyrics, but like from the first line, a whole universe has been created, and that's probably one of my favorite songs.
That's amazing. Carries a lot of emotion and experience.
Yeah. And that's just what I value in songs. That's not to say that everybody needs to value that.
Yeah. What have been your biggest struggles as a member of the trans and disabled community?
I'm very lucky. I'm very privileged insofar as I'm a member of these communities, but I don't have precarious housing and my income is relatively stable. So I acknowledge that I have quite a lot of privilege despite being in those two groups. But in my life and in my history, the most challenging aspect of having the combination of both is that I often have to choose which one I'm going to talk about on any given day. So for instance, when I was in university, when I would go to new professors to tell them I need these accessibility accommodations so that I don't fall behind in my work, I then didn't feel comfortable being and also my pronouns are they, them. It just felt like I was too much But that was a while ago, and now that I'm a little older, a little wiser, I don't feel like I'm too much anymore. I feel like I'm just enough.
Good for you. What has been the most lucrative monetization channel for you?
Kajabi, definitely. Kajabi, yeah, I have to think about that for a second, but hands down, it's selling e-courses on my Kajabi website.
What's your top tip for navigating updates to social media algorithms?
I don't really have any tips because I have never navigated that myself. Like, it happens around me and I just continue to do what I'm doing, and sometimes the algorithm serves me and sometimes it doesn't, but I don't pay too much mind. I think if I had to give one tip, it would be to continue to play to your strengths, even if that doesn't necessarily fit with what is the most effective algorithmic choice at the time.
Right, the big mystery of the algorithms.
Exactly.
I think that's the perfect answer there. What is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve is a songwriting quirk. So most people don't notice this, but when songs put the emphasis on the wrong syllable of a word, I notice and I can't stand it. Like, if the word is unconditionally, that dish is the emphasis, unconditionally. But some songwriters will say unconditionally, and I hate that. But there are some songs that can get away with it. So I don't know. Just whenever I hear it, I'm like, no.
So interesting.
It's something that nobody would ever notice. I'm usually pretty easygoing, so I don't have a lot of pet peeves.
What are you next most excited for in your business?
I am most excited about the courses that don't yet exist, because they kind of are percolating in the back. I've got like 2 or 3 that they're not taking shape yet, but they're like little seeds. And I'm really excited to see those things flourish and grow into the next thing that I have to offer.
What's your favorite midnight snack?
I'm a big fan of popcorn. I make popcorn like a couple times a week, and I recently got into Molly Baz's cookbook, where she has a recipe for like the right way to make popcorn. So now I make popcorn with turmeric and black pepper and nutritional yeast, and it is lit. I absolutely love that popcorn.
That literally made my mouth water.
It's good. It's really good.
How do you use your social following to sell your digital products?
I don't know if I do that, actually. I use my social following to spread information and joy to the trans community. And some of those may decide to then buy my products. But my main goal when I'm creating content for social media is not sell my products. It's connect to my community.
What's one question you would like to be asked more often?
So I have a friend named Mary Claire, and whenever we get together to talk on the phone, she never asks me, how are you doing? Because the answer is always fine, right? She always asks me, how is your heart? And every time she does, I'm like, I have a moment of reflection, and I wish that more people asked each other, how's your heart?
That is a lot more of a real question.
Yes, and I always give a real answer.
Yeah, we need more of that. I love that. What advice do you have for creators to reach and win over their audience?
I would say it's really important to consider the problem that you're solving for people. I think a lot of people create content based on what they know, but they're not putting themselves necessarily in the shoes of the person who has the problem that their information solves. And so when you reach people that way, when you really think to yourself, like, what does it look like to have that problem solved? And then how can I communicate that someone's life can be improved by having their problem solved? That's when you really connect with people.
And lastly, what would you like to be remembered for?
This question stresses me out. I don't know why, but I never think about legacy in the future. Like, maybe this is because I have chronic pain, and like I've had chronic pain for about, how old am I? I've had it maybe 15 years now. And there was a time when I didn't think I would ever be able to do any of the things that I'm doing in my life. And I didn't think I would live this long, to be perfectly frank. And so I'm really focused on like doing good now and connecting with people now. I'm not concerned about how people remember me after I'm gone. All that matters to me is what's happening today.
Great motto to live by.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you, Renée.
Thanks for having me.